In attendance will be the governor of California.
Mac's dad?
You look amazing and your hair's fire.
My dad's also coming.
I don't care about your dad, Spencer. I just care about Zack and Kelly.
So in this iteration of Saved by the Bell, you play the principal. And especially in teen comedies, the principal is always so put upon. He's like this dork that just gets beat up by the kids. Why? I mean, like, it's very funny. I don't know if that would be funny in real life, but it's funny in comedies. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the pop culture principal is always such a punching bag?
Well, it's strange, that he's sort of always the adult in the room, for a teen comedy, the adult is very much a dunk clown. It's somebody you throw the balls at, and if you hit the target, he goes down into the water. And I think that it's a standard way for the kids to sort of to team up against the adults. And unfortunately, the principal is always representing the adults. It's rarely a teacher. I don't know why. Usually, the teachers in these comedies are someone that reaches out to the kids or that they find inspiration from. The adult, the principal is always the headache. And there's no exception here. I'm certainly a dunk clown, but strangely, I end up having a sort of an epiphany, as it were, for my character, because when in our show, a whole bunch of kids from an underserved school are brought to Bayside with all the rich kids. And it's my character who sort of shows up, not just in our drama, but in his own life. And he turns out to be a very effective conciliator and sort of merger of these two cultures, much to his own surprise. So it's actually an interesting dramatic arc for me, at least as an actor, and I think for the audience on this reboot.
Yeah, because he can inspire these kids who haven't been around him. Maybe.
Right. And, these kids are getting mocked and pranked, the new kids, just like he is, and so he actually has something in common with the kids that are coming into the school as being a sort of outsider, and a target for the rich Bayside kids.
How much do you know about principaling? Watching this made me be like, is being a principal, I don't know why this came up. This is Saved by the Bell. Like, why am I thinking about this? But
yeah.
Like, how much of its principaling is bureaucratic? How much of it is relating to kids? Do you know what I mean? Like, I wonder what that role really is.
I actually, I'm acquaintances with the principal in the elementary school. It's almost directly across the street from me. And I didn't need to do research or anything for this role or this type of genre, but I had been talking with her over years. And it's a job that is too big. It's one of those jobs that's too big to do if you're one person. What you really need to be is three different people. And the principals are always put upon because I think they just have too many balls in the air. They have too much to do, and they have to be not just organizing adults, the teachers, the staff, but organizing a whole other set of employees, which is the students, and doing admin, and doing counseling with, and running referee between the two groups of people, the faculty and the students. It just seems like it's too hard a job. And I guess that's why they get paid more.
Not enough, of course. But
not enough.
You mentioned, these new kids that come into the school, and with that brings some. So, like the Saved by the Bell, we knew this is not a serious reboot of Saved by the Bell.
No,
but it's bringing up some social issues. You're talking about school sort of economics, like how schools are funded, different communities. You're talking about the perceptions we have of what different communities are like compared to each other, stuff like that. How do you think that like comedy can help sort of shine light on important social issues like that?
I'm glad you asked me that question. Our showrunner, Tracy Wigfield, is very, very good at making these episodes relevant, and they have certain social echoes that things that kids might be experiencing themselves, things having to do with race or class or these bigger issues. Now it's an NBC comedy, and at NBC the jokes lead first. Funny is first, right? If we can get the funny and do something else with it, all the better. And I think we don't do it unless it's funny, but Tracy really knows how to sew that stuff in. And there are quite, as you'll see in these episodes, there's quite a lot of very tricky, interesting social dilemmas that are brought up in these episodes. And I was thrilled to be able. A lot of it lands on my desk, thank God. It's just so interesting for me to do, because I do some very broad comedy in this, being the dunk clown, but I also end up having to mediate a lot of interesting current issues, you know. And I think this show, the thing I'm most pleased with is in this show, first of all, is meeting this lovely cast of young actors who are very inspiring to me. They always remind me what the fun part is. You know, after so many years on the road for me, it's just nice to see actors lit up by something. And but the other thing is that Tracy is able to weave in these interesting actual problems and get the laugh. You know, she's very talented.
Bayside.